Everybody, I haven't made a video in a while, and I have this project gun that I've been working on slowly and trying to tweak it to get it to exactly how I want it. And it's kind of a popular modification now, and actually AIM Surplus recently sold a batch of these, which were they were Gen 2 Glock 17s that were cut to 19 length, and that's not where I got this one from. And so I actually had this about a week or so before AIM came out with theirs, and this was originally a full Gen 2 Glock 17, you can see there. But what mag is in there? That is a PMag GL9, which is, you can see on there, 15 round capacity. It is, says right there, G19 and 26. So you just saw that this was a 17, and you can see PMag 15, and there it is. So you can see, even though that is stippled, that I did do a grip chop on here. So this had I picked this up at a semi-local gun store. I had to drive about 50 miles down there, but it was the only place that had any used Glock 17s, and I wanted one that was kind of beat up so that I didn't mind, you know, mangling the grip the way I did. And it had some stippling done to it already on the back strap and on the front strap there, and you can see that is an empty gun. And so it was a decent job of stippling, but the side panels were, you know, the original slick part that the Gen 2s have. So I use my handy dandy Harbor Freight wood burner kit and stippled the sides, and I tried to do a border, which didn't turn out outstanding, but it did turn out pretty decent. This side actually looks a little bit better, but I sanded all that down with a Dremel and smoothed it, and you can see I scalloped the mag release there and did a trigger undercut. Trigger guard undercut, which to me is the most important thing you can do. That didn't turn out too bad. You can see that's pretty smoothed out. Just ended up using one of these. This is a 7-way nail file, and these work great for, you know, you can see some black residue on there. Use that coarse and then just keep working up till you get to number 7, and it puts a nice sheen on there. Let's see if I can catch that. There you see. And then that I did with the sanding drum of the Dremel, and that actually looks worse on camera than it does in real life. But and then you just smooth that with a Kratex wheel. Obviously you take your mag release and detail strip your frame before you start doing that. And this is the grip force adapter. This is the one that had the ridges on it, and I just Dremeled off the ridges and polished that out, and that looks worse on camera than it does in person, probably because I have a gigantic light shining at it. And you can see that the pins they give you are oversized, so you do have to file those down. And you know, what it does though is it gets rid of the pronounced hump, which goes into that big curve. And if you look at it now, it's almost 1911 grip angle-ish, and it feels really good when you get a hold of it. So if you don't like that, the Glock grip angle, look at that stuff just sticking to that stippling, pretty cool. You can just brush it off with, like, you just take a toothbrush like this and see the way it goes. Anyhow, so I like how that feels, and I like the one of the other reasons I did that besides was that the prior owner had stippled all the way up the back strap, which to me it just nails that web space on your hand when under recoil. So I smoothed all that down with the spatula bit that comes with the wood burner, and so I smoothed out all that stippling and polished it, and it did look pretty good. But I just figured for $9, let's get one of these, and then it'll actually make that grip feel a little bit better too. One of the other things I did, and I don't know if I think I've mentioned this in my other videos, and you guys should be doing this with all your Glocks, is you detail strip your slide and send your bare slide. You can send it first class because it's under a pound if you pack it right. And first class is 15.99 ounces and under now. So it costs you about $3 to ship it down to Georgia. And I sent them a check for $20, and they put on these steel Glock factory sights. You can see that's the steel version right there because it sticks out on the back part of the slide. And let's see, I have a magnet right here, so we'll see that is on there. So anyhow, so detail strip your slide, send it down there with absolutely nothing in it. Take your old sights off. You know, if you had other sights on there, knock them off. Use a block of wood and a hammer. Just get them off there. Send your slide with nothing in it. Send them a check for $20 if you want the steel. Send them a check for $58 and some change, and they will send it back to you completely filled with a brand new striker, brand new extractor, brand new end plate, brand new, what do they call that thing? Spring-loaded bearing for the extractor, and your sights will be installed and centered. So you can't beat that because those parts alone, if you price them out, are over $70. And if you want, you can just flip the parts on eBay and pay for your sights for free. I've done that before on a gun that was basically brand new. So you can see I stippled up here, and the slide finish on this is kind of worn, but I think it looks pretty awesome, so I'm going to leave it. This is a Gen 2, but it's like a late 90s Gen 2. It's one of the last ones, 2-pin frame. But it has that flat, chalky finish. It doesn't have like that frying pan finish. So I've been coating it with like a Teflon oil, thinking that it might soak in, because I think it's like a phosphate parkerizing over top the tenifer. So we'll see. You know, eventually down the road I could get it Cerakoted, but I don't really care. As you can tell, the rest of it kind of doesn't look like a showpiece, and Glocks aren't meant to be. So I plan on running this one in IDPA in just some, you know, regular range type stuff. I may occasionally carry it because I did just pick up this holster from a guy on AR15.com, and I'm waiting for, he had modified it and put another hole in there so he could run inch and 3/4 belt loops, which I don't run an inch and 3/4 belt. So I took those off and I ordered some of the pancake wings off eBay from DIY Holster. And those were supposed to be here, but they've stalled in tracking for some reason, so I'm hoping that the mailman did not damage them. So keep an eye on that, and I might do an update video when I put pancake wings on, because I'm going to get them set up. I might have to modify them a little bit to get them how I want, but we'll see. So anyhow, this is you can tell that's a Gen 3 mold, but obviously it's going to work on there. Just the only difference is there is no tack rail, which I wouldn't use on this gun anyway, so it's not a big deal. Good retention, and let's see if I can get it out of there. Good. Also, we have a Glock Sport Combat holster. These are awesome for $12, and if you cut these right, you can set it up, and you'll see I added a zip tie around there with another piece that I had cut out from down there to give this a little bit of cant. So it sits higher in the rear like this, so this gives you a little bit of an FBI type cant. And the one thing is on these, when you go for insertion, if you don't make that relief cut, sometimes they'll hang up on your slide release. Your slide, release, slide stop. And so you just make that cut with, I just used a X-Acto knife, cut that out, and now it goes in and out real nice, and actually sinks down all the way that it should. So these are a great holster for real fast, flexible, outside the waistband, but super thin profile, and good for concealment for an outside the waistband for about $12 on eBay and Amazon. Both carry those. Let's see what else. Let's show you a factory 17 round Glock magazine. You can see that is a non-ambi cut, so that is an older one, and that's about how far it's going to stick out of there. And you can see the angle of the 19s are a little bit different. Let's talk about how I made that cut real quick. So what I did was, when I bought this gun, they had the place has a range too, so I asked to use one of their rental 19s since I sold my 19 or traded it to the firearm guy, and I put the 19 against it. We used a paint Sharpie, scribed the line on here, came home, and I used one of the oscillating trim saws, so like the oscillating tool, the half moon saw, the fine tooth saw, just drop it through there and cut that. and then did some finish sanding. So you take the frame and you work it back and forth on a piece of I used 60 grit that was down on a hard surface. Work that back, keep checking your mag. Once the mag seats, you're good to go. And then I just use the Dremel and a Kratex and put a bevel on there. I don't know, hopefully that's showing up. You can kind of see I did a nice shiny bevel on there to give you a mag well. And then because the grip plug wouldn't fit, this gun came with a grip plug. I normally don't run one, but since I had it and they're not worth any money to sell, I figured what the heck. I just cut the knob that would stick through the lanyard hole on the back. I just cut that off and sanded around the perimeter of that till that would fit in there and fit flush. Put a bead of the super glue gel on there, pressed it into place, let it sit overnight upside down like this in the safe while I was waiting for my slide to come back from Glock. 10-day turnaround on that, by the way, including weekends. And you can see pretty nice turnout on there. And now I can run 17 mags, which the gun came with 3 of those, and then I bought 1, 2, 3 of these, so I have 6 mags for this at the moment. And you know, I can run either 17 round mags or I can run the 15 round mags, and that way if for some reason I was ever harebrained and didn't bring the right mags or forgot more mags to the range, chances are there's somebody there with a Glock 19 and I can maybe borrow a couple mags from them, and I can run 19 mags in there and I don't have to worry about it. So it's just kind of a cool mod, and I think it looks cool, and it's, you know, it feels right in the hand. It doesn't feel front heavy or anything, and pretty neat. So if you guys have an older beat up 17 or even a new, I've seen guys do them to brand new Gen 4s. So sometimes guys leave the tail down there, so the mag, it actually, what would happen is then if you had a mag base plate, the tail would stick down there and come up. However, that is going to stick out on your t-shirt when you're concealing it, whereas this is you know, a little more like bobtail, like I guess you could call it. So let's look at real quick, let's look at a length comparison to an HK P30, sorry, P2000. So we're gonna line up the sight tops, and you can see that the 15 round cut, let's stick that mag back in there, and this P2000 is 13 rounds, and you can see they are identical in length. This has the flat base plate magazine on there, not the finger rest one. So hope you guys liked that video. Hopefully it was a little bit informative. Sorry it went 13 minutes, but it is what it is. So always appreciate thumbs up button. Be sure to like and subscribe.